And now that he has the lobbyists in there, as I said, when you see lobbyists brought in there, Charlie, this fight is far more complex than.
So this investment you're talking about is one that can be publicly verified. You picked some information you are looking into. I just want to find out, because these questions I keep getting, that you keep referencing Ofori-Atta's millions of investment in the United States. It's going to make it difficult for him to be extradited.
Oh, yes. Oh, but it's even, those actions, once again, you remember those actions. At the point that I said his son had applied for permanent residence for him, this is the same way they came. How? I should show my source. Thankfully, in 2 months, it came out that his own lawyers had admitted. In the same manner, when it comes to the investment, be patient. Be patient. You heard the phrase the Attorney General used. He said the other investigations he's doing, okay, they are mind-blowing. You know, Dr. Agyeman is very moderate, okay? He's not giving away to flamboyant words and swag easily like that. So for Agyeman to tell you that the other investigations against Ofori-Atta, when they come out public, they would blow you away. Please be patient. Be patient. So let me use the publicly available information. That's why I'm using to, answer you. And then let's go back for the avoidance of, I say, Google and see John Ashcroft's pedigree. You know what it takes to retain John Ashcroft as a lawyer? You are running into millions of dollars. What are you saying? Even the lawyer alone, you're already running into millions of dollars.
Right.
So you see, then let's come to this part, just in case I don't get the opportunity to answer. Look, I think, you see, we've heard, last week we were here, Kofi Benton, my good friend and my lawyer, is not here. Last week I didn't get to answer, and I've seen it on other platforms. Please, this Ofori-Atta return, apart from us saying Akufo-Addo and the MPP must come in and bring him down immediately, there is also a separate constitutional argument that he has a constitutional duty to come back to Ghana. It's a constitutional duty. As long as he remains Ghanaian, he has a duty. Because, look, Article 12 of the Constitution says that natural persons must also obey the Constitution. We should respect it. Honorable Dafia Meko sits here, Dr. Zato sits here. We are all citizens. We must respect the Constitution. So if Article 12 says, just the instructive part, it says the fundamental human rights and freedoms enshrined in this chapter shall be respected and upheld by the executive, blah, blah, blah. And then by natural and legal persons. Right. Ofori-Atta is a natural Ghanaian. That's a natural human being, right? And what is the point? When you go to 19.3 says that the trial of an accused person shall take place in his presence. So that is where his duty. We are not saying come and confess to the Office of Special Prosecutor, etc. Of course, if it does, that's bonanza. But I'm talking about the trial. Trial, he must be physically present. It's a duty in the Constitution. It says that it shall take place in his presence. It's not an option. So those who are saying that he doesn't have a duty to come, you know, if it was optional, then what is the essence of the laws on extradition? Right. What is the essence? Then why do we have laws on extradition? If you run away, we will use the law to pull you. So this constitutional duty to attend, be physically present, please, is distinct, is separate from saying that, oh, we need him to help investigations. No, that's the one that he doesn't have the duty to help. It is the state that says he's committed some offenses. So the state must go ahead and prove it by itself, right? He doesn't have to help you, but he must make himself physically available. He must come to court. When he enters the court, because of our laws against self-incrimination, when you ask him a question and he thinks that any answer will incriminate him, he has a right to keep quiet. You can't force him to talk, but he must be physically present. So please, let's get a distinction. A separate, attending your trial is separate from saying, come and help the prosecution. He doesn't have the duty to help. No. It's the state that must prove his case. But he has a duty to attend. And for the avoidance of doubt, you go to Article 41, it's repeated there again, that citizens have a duty to uphold the Constitution. Yeah. So how do you uphold the Constitution if you're running away and embarrassing us as a nation? Look at 41B. Okay, it says, so the exercise, and this is very important. So the general part of 41, it says, the exercise and enjoyment of rights and freedoms is inseparable from the performance of duties and obligations. And accordingly, it shall be the duty of every citizen be to uphold and defend this Constitution. Uphold, that's it, that's the duty. Then you come again. D, to respect the rights, yes, freedoms and legitimate interests of others. You see, respect it, obey. So when the, what do you call it, the state is trying to unravel a matter, the state is investigating a matter in court. When I say investigations, yes, let's be clear. Apart from the police, Yoko, and the rest doing their investigations, the whole court process itself is also another form of investigation.
But the court itself too can investigate.
Exactly. So the court is investigating the matter. So
evidence and all.
Very good. The cross-examination, all that is a form of investigation. So a trial is an investigative process as well, right? That's why lawyers were also investigators, right? And the judges. So it says that, so the state is investigating it. And the Constitution says that you must respect, okay, the rights and then the legitimate interests of others. You see? So all of this tied together, Ofori-Atta has one unequivocal duty to return to Ghana and to be present. If he comes and then you ask him a question, he keeps quiet, he doesn't mind you like Mumu. Yes, it's within his rights.
I see.
But he cannot stay outside Ghana. And so, please, that should be made very clear. So anybody who tells you he has no duty to come to Ghana, etc., is dead wrong. I'm saying so. That is dead wrong. He hasn't read the Constitution well. He's mixing them. They are different strands of duties. They are different obligations.
But considering how complex you say the entire case is, which you have just run through, how much of an impact will the protest by Arise Ghana we saw this week and the petition, how much of an impact will that have on the complexity that you've just outlined?
Good. It unravels it a bit. It sends a clear signal to the U.S. government that, look, we are now becoming more and more conscious. So we are aware that once he has investments in the U.S., and also if you look at President Trump's record when it comes to investment, business, etc., it's likely at the end of the day they could just delay and not bring him. So, and I had advocated it even before Arise Ghana went in there. Some months ago, I said that in due course, we want to picket at the U.S. Embassy. We want them to understand that ordinary citizens, we understand this, no. It won't be that, oh, yes, we'll bring them. Yes, I've heard the ambassador, good. We respect the comment, etc. But we also know that in the past, you see, I've been referencing Bush 41. That's the older Bush. It's the way to distinguish them sometimes in American speech, the way they talk there is they call the older one 41, then the son 43, right? Because the older one was the 41st president, and then the younger, the son was 43rd. Okay, so Bush 41. When he was campaigning for elections,
Senior Bush.
Yes, Senior Bush, he said, read my lips. There will be no increase in taxes. He came and he increased, right? There are many other examples. You see, President Trump, he makes U-turns willy-nilly, right? So yes, we've heard the ambassador, but we too, it's good that we keep raising the issues by doing the picketing, etc., so that it just tells you that we don't want anything to go wrong. We say in Tree that so as the Americans are committing to bring him, we must persistently complain. And there's a lot of value, I like saying, in noise. You see, when you are protesting, they are doing it well for you, but you keep protesting. It makes the person doing it up his game. Okay, what else can I do to make this noise maker shut up? How can I make it better? True. So it's a challenge. So the noise is welcome any day. We can't keep quiet.
Right.
So we have to support Arise Ghana to continue. It helps. It helps so that they also look at how they can quicken their steps in the U.S. to bring him so that the deportation, when it comes to the ICE case, maybe the ICE case can be dealt with quickly and then it can be deported, then maybe there won't be the need for us to do the extradition case, right? And so we also repeat the request that Akufo-Addo should step in and the MPP must step in. We gave them the opportunity to serve, right? They had all the privileges, all the benefits, bathing in the skies, etc. And today, what we are getting as payment is international embarrassment. You Google it, and then Ghana is there. We are being embarrassed. We can't continue to take that embarrassment.
Great. Now, Professor Baffour Agyeman, you saw this, and in fact, you observed this virtual hearing during the week, and you say, would you agree with those who say Ken Ofori-Atta brought this upon himself to just come and end all of this?
Well, first, before I address that, I think the last point made by my very good friend Martin, I've also read a lawyer statement somewhere that is suggesting that, in fact, such demonstrations or protests at the embassy could backfire because it could strengthen the case of Ofori-Atta if he so decides to use this as an evidence of the political persecution, and therefore he may not get a fair trial if he comes. So there's a negative side to that public demonstration.
It's a ruse.
Hey, doesn't matter.
That's there. Congress, people go to picket all the time. We've lived it.
This is an international issue.
Yeah.
It's not an American demonstration at the Congress. But all I'm saying is that that's a view of another
The
lawyer.
White House.
And you lawyers have different views
So
anyway.
I think that's Angela Moore.
Something like that, yeah. I don't know whether it's legal or not, but I think it's an important point to throw in there. Now, there is no question in my mind, and I've said it publicly, I don't know how many times, that Ofori-Atta should come back. In my humble opinion, he may have been ill-advised by those who advised him not to come, if in fact he's been advised at all. And I believe he has lawyers, and I'm sure lawyers are involved in this kind of advice. And, personally, I don't even know how to say it, but there's no reason for him not to come back. Not coming back, unfortunately, has led to this present predicament. I don't believe that if he had come, first of all, his lawyers could negotiate with the prosecutors or whichever office is handling the case about his coming back and the kinds of, whether protection is afraid or whatever. That could have been negotiated. It's done all the time. So there's no reason, no justification for his refusal to come back. So for me, I don't have a problem with that. But I want to shift the conversation a little bit. You see, at the moment, we are focusing on the individual, his responsibilities, and the accountability that he has for the work that he did. And that is in order. However, I think we should also begin to look at this issue in a broader context. Ofori-Atta as an individual certainly is responsible for any malfeasance or criminal act connected to his office. But Ofori-Atta, as a public officer, did not function in a vacuum.
Sure.
You see, first of all, we should look at the whole system of recruitment into public office. Recruitment in terms of a president, of course, appointing, and what criteria is used in determining appointments.
Perfect.
Look, without necessarily questioning the competence, and this is not only relating to the position of the finance ministry. Of course, Ofori-Atta has done very well in private as an investor. Financing, I don't know. Maybe through that investment expertise, he was also doing some international financial dealings or arrangements. But not the management of a nation's economy, because the money of a country is not just a matter of collecting and distributing. There's a whole political economy about that. And there's a whole system of how that works.
So you could be successful privately, but...
Precise, but not publicly. And so that raises a question of how we recruit, and this across board, whether authorities appointing people put square pegs in round holes. That's number one. So we have to seriously consider the recruitment of public officers. Secondly, we should be looking at this whole idea of political loyalty. And in his case in particular, maybe the personal protection he felt because his cousin was the president. So here I'm looking at whether that also could be related to all the things he did for which he's being called to account. The third and important thing for me here is institutions that we have and the weaknesses of these institutions and the failure of the institutions to get public officers to behave the way that is required. You see, some of the accusations, they are yet to be established, you know. The SML and other things were sent to Parliament, isn't it?
True.
And Parliament as institution, my good brother is here, Majority Whip. Parliament as an institution approved some of these things. Whether on partisan basis or not, that is not the point. We're talking about the effectiveness of institutions to ensure transparency.
National Cathedral, all of that.
Yes. So it tells me that the weaknesses of our institutions could have been part of the problem. Because I'm looking at the long-term solutions that will not only stop people like Ofori-Atta in swindling the country, but for subsequent individuals in public positions to avoid that kind of behavior. So I'm not excusing him, but I'm also pointing out that these are.
So didn't get parliamentary approval. In fact,
I'm saying some of the decisions were policy decisions that were sent to Parliament for discussion and approval. Of course, and all could be part of the problem.
I think the SML, one of the charges was it being done without parliamentary approval.
Exactly.
Yes.
And without PPA approval.
Precisely.
The 28 charges against him
Exactly.
by the OSP.
Exactly.
Great. So those that got approval we know,
understand.
and others he bypassed Parliament. And of course, we can even ask the question: how could he bypass Parliament if the law required him to submit it to?
It's
to
the question I
Parliament?
was asking earlier.
Yeah.
That we have too many of those instances where people are managing to bypass Parliament,
That's right.
bypass institutions of
That
state,
is-
and still do things.
That's right.
How do we allow that to continue?
That again reflects the weaknesses in our structures of accountability and transparency. So let's look at that.
Yeah.
So we don't have a recurrence of that. You see, so for me, whether we crucify him or not, or whether we say let the blood flow, as we heard in 1978, after the blood flowed, what happened? Didn't we revert to the same old bad habit of corruption and theft of public assets? It hasn't ended.
It must go beyond
So
that
I
individual.
think this could be a wonderful occasion for all of us to consider how best we re-engineer our governance to ensure that the easiness with which public officers are able to do things can be kept. That, for me, is my long-term interest. So sure, Ofori-Atta will come and face the consequences of his actions, no doubt. But let's look also beyond that. Because if the focus is on him, you get him and we crucify him and he's gone, have we solved the fundamental issues that enable him, for that matter, that enables any other public officer to still